Hello there, and welcome to another Pantosplaining with me, Ben Baker.
And me, still, John Matthews.
Oh, well, of course, yes, still, because this is part 2 of a post we've already started peeping at with our podcast-style eyes. Although, again, please, use us as a video. Put us on the big telly. We like that. We like to be up there. We like to feel important, don't we?
Hashtag, watch it on the big telly. Get that trending.
Oh, please do. That would be marvellous. Have you ever had a hashtag? Has it ever worked? Other than, like, stop John Matthews?
What, me personally? No.
Yeah, like if you'd started something and it had taken off. You know when social media used to work back in the day?
It was a lot of fun back then, wasn't it? No, I've never managed that. No.
Well, this is it. This is the moment, ladies and gentlemen. This is where it all began. You could be in the ground floor of hashtag put it on the big telly.
Ground zero, more like.
You can't, no.
There was something you said in the intro there. Peeping at Pantos would be quite a good one as well. We should have called this podcast Peeping at Pantos, but it will pop on the microphone a lot. So, that's post-production for the producer.
I'm quite happy to be sort of referenced as a splainer,
but
not a peeper. I think that has a very different connotation. And what we're doing, obviously, is taking a Panto poster from old and just sort of lovingly looking over the names on it and see if we can find some interesting things to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's not a grubby thing. I've got my trousers on.
Have you?
Yeah, they're on my head, but I've still got them on, and that's all that matters. They can't touch me for it. And they shouldn't.
I thought that was very unlike you.
Yeah, no, it was one of those fun humours that I'm trying out again. I won't do it again, I promise, throughout the rest of this episode.
Good.
Where we've got some more fantastic names to talk about.
Yes.
Really looking forward. If you've not heard part 1 already, you've missed Sue Pollard, Matthew Kelly, Derek Griffiths, and Edmund the King Hockridge. I've already forgotten what we said about him.
I for some reason I thought we'd done David Hockney, so that's how much Edmund Hockridge stuck in our minds.
I'm fairly sure I've never been to the Edmund Hockridge gallery in Saltaire. Let me tell you that, ladies and gentlemen.
There's still time.
There is always time, But will there be time for getting all of the clues in a massive helicopter?
Good.
We can only assume so, because we're going to start this second part with Anneka Rice. And how old were you when you realised Anneka Rice was not her real name?
Well, today.
Okay, yeah, her name's Anne. It's
Yeah.
just Anne, but there was another one in Equity. Because that's it. That's one of the reasons why she's so memorable. She's certainly more memorable than if she was called Anne.
Yeah, exactly.
Although obviously there is a famous Anne Rice, but that's what's. I would like Anneka Rice to try and write some sort of vaguely smutty vampire fiction. I think that would be great.
I think she'd be good at it. She seems to be able to turn around to most things, and she seems to have the personality to be able to do that.
We've gone from one part of the Panto where we've basically gushed openly about people, and there's going to be more of it in this one because I very much like Anneka Rice. She's on telly a lot more these days. She sort of took a break, as we'll sort of find out when we're going through her career, but she always seems like up for a laugh. She seems fun. She seems to have a good sense of humour about herself.
She does. I mean, she seemed a sparky sort of a cheerful presence when she was around in the first time in the 80s, but then since she's returned again, she's got this slightly more cynical, sarcastic sense of humour. She's excellent value on social media. And in real life, she's a lot funnier than she was back in the 80s.
Yeah, and she's on Radio 2 now, isn't she? I assume she's still there. There's not been any scandals since the last when we recorded this back in 1842. I mean, I tried to find out a little bit more about a sort of backstory, and every single thing in the newspaper archive I could find about her said, she'd moved to Hong Kong as a 19-year-old, where she quickly started working on TV. And that is mentioned a lot, but no one really goes into it very much. And I should find her autobiography because I imagine that's absolutely fascinating.
Well, there's a tantalising bit of information on Wikipedia which says she dubbed kung fu films into English for Run Run Shaw late into the night. So I don't know whether she was doing the technical stuff or the actual voices. Like she's the voice going, "You are scared like a mouse. I will beat you into unrecognisable shape.
You must die. I alone am best."
So it would be nice if she was doing the voices. She was a fittings model for Gloria Vanderbilt jeans during her lunch hours as well, apparently.
I mean, Who can honestly say otherwise?
No, we've all done it.
We've all done. Well, I'm gonna be honest now. It was just the knockoff ones from the market that I did advertising for, but it still counts. Didn't have to be on my legs, so that's the main thing. And weirdly, those pictures never came out. That guy took loads of pictures of me. I don't know what ever happened to him. But
I've seen him somewhere on the internet.
have you? Send us a link. Is it dark web?
It's pretty dark, yeah.
She always had this sunny personality, and so when she got back to the UK, she was a reporter on it's a weirdly forgotten magazine show for kids, CBTV Channel 14, throughout pretty much all of 1980.
I was exactly the right age for it when it was on. It was right on my street. But yeah, it's sort of largely forgotten ever since. Mike Smith was on it, Anneka, Steve Steen, Jim Sweeney.
There's not a lot of it online, and I've only dim memories of the later ones, but when she'd long left. But it was sort of a pirate channel that Sweeney and Steen sort of broke in to Thames to do this show. And that again, quite impressive. They were very alternative comedians.
Yeah.
They cropped up on all sorts of stuff. This sort of series, I think it's sort of Magpie and then I guess Splash came later on. They always had those kind of Blue Peter style bits and bobs of reports and here's some fun hobbies you can try. And
no, it wasn't exactly a punk version of the BBC stuff. It was more a new wave version of the BBC stuff. They would come in the t-shirts and the shirt sleeves. They wouldn't come in their t-shirts.
No, I just meant it was a racy look. You don't have to make it into a Chuckle Brothers thing again. We've already been kicked off several Facebook groups for even suggesting that two men...
Don't say it again. We got in so much trouble a week ago.
The love that dare not speak its name between two Chuckle Brothers. But yeah, it's kind of looking up. There's not a lot of her, and then suddenly she's everywhere. She does CBTV for basically all of 82, and then at the end of 82, Treasure Hunt begins and makes her an absolutely massive nationwide star. And I think for good reason, because Treasure Hunt was incredibly exciting at the time.
Anneka would fly around a portion of the nation, instructed by clues from a studio-bound pair of quantity surveyors, because they were always quantity surveyors, weren't they? And Kenneth Kendall and the Pat Sharp-haired Wincy Willis.
God bless her soul. I mean, they were always in like a little library. It was like a little private library with all these books, and they got the clues through, and they had to research all these books whilst Anneka Rice was in the air or running about from place to place. It was both a mixture of tedium and extreme excitement, and that meant quite a fascinating programme.
It's why everybody loved it. There was always the feeling it could fall apart at any minute, like they wouldn't be able to work out the first clue, and 45 minutes would pass, and the helicopter would never take off.
Yeah, it's like, I think there's a book here, actually, on Cornish customs involving traffic lights. Let me just check. Oh, there it is. It's just opened at the right... It was a little bit 3-2-1 in its clue. To have one massive hit on TV is huge. But Anneka had two in the 80s. The other one was Challenge Anneka.
Hang on. You mean the Challenge programme?
Sorry.
She always used to refer to it as the Challenge programme.
Oh, when she was like on the phone to people.
She never called it Challenge Anneka, ever. It was always, it's Anneka Rice here from the Challenge programme.
Yeah, I think it started out on Children in Need, and she sort of devised it herself, this idea that basically we've got a self-imposed deadline to do a massive job, a massive task, whether it's like building an orphanage or something like that, or recording a charity CD. There was always some sort of benefactory nature, wasn't there, to whatever they were doing.
That time frame they used to give themselves was a bit of a step too far for me. I always thought it was a great format, and it was always fun to watch. For a Saturday night, it was just a lazy thing you could have on the background. But I never liked the time frame aspect of it. It seems they didn't have to add that to it. They could have made the show much better and much more relaxed if they didn't have to run around saying we've got 48 hours to renovate a lighthouse or whatever. And
it was always like, the running joke in it was like, hello, is that Jones the Bricklayers? We need 2 million bricks. That's Jones the Bricklayers of the High Street, 024 93629. It's like, there was a lot of that kind of, it was the BBC, it was prime time Saturday night, but there was still a lot of It did start as a Children Need appeal special, and it does have that vibe of it where it's just lots of reading out very, very boring business names and stuff. It ran for a fair old while. It was certainly a staple of the time. It even got revivals on ITV and Channel 5 later on.
Did it on ITV?
Yeah, ITV did a few as well. Yeah,
Wow.
much later. We're talking like 2000s, 2010s maybe, but it's got that in-bit like Noel's Christmas presents always had. If people remember that, it was always like, I want to do a nice thing for someone. And it'd be, a little bit of a tea, a little bit of emotion, a little bit of good humour, a little bit of racing about and stuff. And both of them used helicopters to the nth degree. But uncynical television. I won't say you don't get it now, but it's certainly a lot less prevalent on
Well, that's
screen.
it. The recent, was it Channel 5 revival of the Challenge programme? It didn't really take off, did it? As most things don't on Channel 5. Because we live in a very more cynical society now, this do-gooderiness, as it were. It doesn't fly well with the viewing public these days.
Yeah, but also don't forget, if you're watching television throughout the day, you are bombarded with people asking for your money, whether it's for sick donkeys or, malformed lions or whatever. There's always something. And I think that with people burnt out or the amount of need that there is in the world because everything's incredibly unfair.
There's a lot more of these interior design type programs, isn't there? Changing rooms and its ilk. So people building things and repairing things and teams of people putting things together. They're much more proliferant. That's never a word. They're much more profiterole than they were in the 1990s, before Nick Knowles came along with his acoustic guitar.
Don't feel that this is an opportunity to put in a clip of one of his many, many guitar-based tunes. Please, no, genuinely, don't do that.
I'll definitely not do that.
Put your black stockings on. It really turns me on. Put your black stockings on.
Anneka slowly just became ubiquitous. She was suddenly everywhere.
It's like Derek Griffiths. At one point you realise in your life that Derek Griffiths is the most famous man in Britain without really realising. And it was the same with Anneka Rice. Pretty much everybody knows who Anneka Rice is, and she just did it sort of under the radar.
I found a thing from 1992. They asked a load of people who their least favourite presenters were on television, and I think her ubiquity by this point had somewhat come to the fore, as the headline is Beadle's about as popular as Anneka Rice. A total of 55% of people surveyed said they did not want to see Beadle on television, whilst 52% did not want to see Ms. Rice. Terry Wogan and Lloyd Grossman came joint third with 49% in the survey compiled by NOP. And Esther Ranson came fifth, 45%, hot on the heels of Jonathan Ross and Amanda de Cadenet. We were all like, who do you dislike on television? All of the old ladies down the precinct was like, oh, yes, I said Bruiser de Cadenet's sister. Oh, yes, I didn't like her. She was very, very, very vague.
Well, this is a thing. I was going to say, it seems to me that people just said the first name they could think of, i.e. somebody famous, when they were challenged in this. And so saying Amanda de Cadenet really does mean they must have hated her a great deal, and perhaps she should have been number one.
Oh, but is this possible? But again, the thing that connects Anneka and Beadle is it's some of the nicest people in the industry. Like Beadle, famously, when he died, it turns out all these stories came out about how much he did for various charities and what have you. And he seemed like an absolutely wonderful person. But the joke was always, Beadle. It was a weird time for television. I'll tell you what else was a weird time.
Go on.
9/11.
Excellent.
Now, no, it's not a fun thing. But interestingly enough, in 2001, there was a post 9/11 pilot called Challenge America, based on this, with Erin Brockovich.
No, really?
The actual one that Julia Roberts played in the film. Yeah. She'd got like a big public profile. And so they tried to do a pilot of them rebuilding an amphitheatre and a soccer field in New York.
Erin Brockovich is faced with a challenge to help the children affected by September 11th in a race against time.
6 days?
6 days. Challenge America, Friday on ABC.
And it didn't take, and I was like that. But I just love the fact that there's that connection. Because again, Anneka came up with this format. So when they sold it around the world, she made millions off it, and she kind of disappeared in the mid-90s. And I found loads of reports saying, "Oh, the TV, nobody wants her on TV anymore." And it's like, I think she's just probably done quite a lot of it, and she had money and she wanted to raise her family, and she enrolled in the Chelsea College of Art.
That's it, yes. And I was going to say, didn't she go off and study art or something? And you think, well, that's exactly what I'd do if I had millions of pounds and nothing to do.
Although interesting, I did find a thing which said they tried to do a live version of Challenge Anneka called Anneka's Angels. And basically it was like members of the public would ring in and ask for, problem solving and stuff like that. And all I've got is, I'd say, for the Sunday Express, January 1996, according to reports, it was terrible and the project did not advance beyond the pilot stage.
Right, excellent.
I mean, she did a lot of old tut as well. Like, do you remember Combat? The
No.
army game show.
No. It sort of rings a vague bell, but it wouldn't be the sort of thing I'd have ever watched.
And there's Passport, which was trying to also do sort of an international flying people to interesting destinations and that. And yeah, she did a lot of stuff which was fairly forgotten about. But one of the things which you definitely remembered about because it came up in the Sue Pollard
Oh, yes.
section of the previous episode is that she was a recipient of Rhea of the Year.
Previous on Pantosplaining, ...
Bottoms. So, yes, we decided to hold it back for this.
Hold back the bottoms.
Hold back the rear, turn up the... No, it's just anyway. I mean, I love, the first line on Wikipedia says it all. Rhea of the Year is a British award for celebrities who are considered to have attractive buttocks.
Yeah.
It was created by publicity consultant Anthony Edwards in 1976 and was initially only awarded to women, but in 1986 the first award was made to a man. In 1997 it was annually awarded to one man and one woman. The first recipient was Barbara Windsor.
Oh, yes.
And then they did give it away for another 5 years when it was given to Felicity Kendall. Presumably her bottom was just too strong to ignore any further. So I would like you to give me a year between 1982 and 2019,
Good.
and I will tell you who got the award.
Well, let's say 2000 then.
2000 was Jane Danson, jointly with Graham Norton.
Oh, okay. How about 1991 then?
1991, Marina Ogilvy.
Oh, who?
The younger child and only daughter of Sir Angus Ogilvy and Princess Alexandra of Kent. So I can't imagine she turned up to the press calls for that one, but you never know. If she did, it'll be on screen now.
Let's try 2006.
2006, Javine Hilton,
Okay.
who was on Pop Stars The Rivals. I think she was the one who just missed out, didn't she?
And she did Eurovision the previous year.
Of course she did, yes. Because obviously you did Eurovision in 2006.
Of course,
so.
yes. I never won Rear of the Year.
And Ian Wright.
Oh,
There you go.
fair enough.
There's some right old names there, like Idris Elba's won it, and John Barrowman was probably not.
No,
probably
don't
not
mention
mentioned that much anymore.
Well,
Frank Skinner.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing a picture of him celebrating.
85, Lindsay DePaul. 86, Anneka and Michael. 87, Anita Dobson. 88, Sue Pollard. 89, no competition. 1990, no competition. And then to Maria Ogilvy and Ulrika Johnson. So there you go. The 3 years, I don't know why, there was just the standard of bottoms was frankly not up to awarding.
It was originally invented to promote a denim trade show at the Olympia Exhibition Centre in London in 1976. When Barbara Windsor won, she was wearing the now defunct denim brand Sloopy.
That is the most 1976 set of things ever, isn't it? A denim trade coat. That's brilliant. Apparently, a similar contest, Mrs. Bum Bum, is an annual contest in Brazil to choose the best female buttocks in the country.
Wow. Good for them.
Good. Well done there. So a little bit of a side. Can't. A side entrance, side exit, if you will. I don't know. And the other thing, the last thing I want to talk about Anneka Rice is that apparently she launched a new cheese called Churnton in 1994.
Really?
Which the newspaper archive thing about it said, bosses claim the flavour will prove such a hit it would become a major rival for cheddar. And I don't think it did.
I think I remember. It rings a bell from adverts and stuff, but I can't really remember.
Have you taken up the Churnton challenge yet? Mild or new mature, the cheesemakers are confident that after one taste, you'll turn to Churnton.
Well, there you go. So there's just some homework. I'm sure the people out there will let us know
I'm sure
in
they
the
will.
comments and what have you, saying stuff like that. I'm fairly sure that's not Tosh lines from the bill, stuff like that, as if we don't know it's a big fun joke. So let's see who we can put up instead of Bob Carolgees. Oh no, that is Bob Carolgees. That is him.
Sure, it's not Toast of London.
It's his official tribute act, Carol Bobgees. It's not even his name. I don't even. His name is Robert Johnson. You know, like
Yeah, I found out why he's called Carolgees.
Did you?
Did you not?
I assume there was someone called Carol and she liked horses, but only half the horse.
The name Carolgees comes from friends Carol and George Dunmore, who owned a record shop called Carolgees Records and Cassettes in Liverpool. Carol Dunmore, brackets Carol G, I suppose, from the Carolgees. That's confusing. Was his assistant in an earlier stint as a youth leader in what is now called the MAC Midlands Arts Centre in Birmingham in the late 1960s. Carol and George also operated a mobile disco called Carolgees Cabaret Disco around Merseyside, and that was where Carolgees, the man Bob Carolgees,
Carolgees, the man Bob,
developed his act. And I don't think I've ever said Carolgees as many times as I have in the last 60 seconds.
It's good, and I think the listeners at home should have a go themselves. Whether you're on public transport, there are people around, whatever you, just after 3, 1, 2, 3, Carolgees.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful time. So yeah, went in the newspaper archive and I found him with Charlie Chimp in 1976 in the Liverpool Echo. Apparently he started at 19, took a decade to get on the telly, and I found his debut was on a regional programme called We'll Call You, which I couldn't find any trace of, but apparently also had Stan Boardman on the same episode. So what a time for talent and excitement. But yeah, basically it all starts when he gets to Tis Was, the Saturday morning anarchic programme for youths, and apparently he only got the job because his agent Tony Ward was also there to see Frank Carson, who did appear on Tis Was, and he entertained everyone clowning around and got a permanent gig off it, which is sort of impressive because
he just turned up as an observer with his Charlie monkey puppet, and Tarrant loved him, didn't he?
Apparently so, yeah. But of course, it's not Charlie Chimp that he's best known for.
No, it's Cough the Cat.
It's Cough the Cat. He's other one. He's other one. Though apparently he also had a floppy dog on stilts called Ben and Yum Yum, which in the Liverpool Echo Bob described as a kind of long-haired blue thing. Or a drunken old man called Bevy.
Well, we've all got a drunken old man called Bevy.
Well, aren't we all? Especially after a Bevy. That's why Bob's first live DVD was, I'm sorry, this has never happened to me before. Live.
He did it very. Spit the Dog was the main one.
Yes,
Spit the Dog was the main one. A dog sat on a plastic arm, much in the vein of Emu. And like Emu, he did it really well. It was a one-note trick. The dog spat at the kids. But it was alive. It had character, that dog. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was filled with sort of realism, and I loved him.
Yes, I mean, do you know, Chris didn't think it was funny last week. What do you think of that? I should think so. Before I get on with the very technical experiment that I've set up, I'd just like to say that he wants to do his own competition. And he said to me, if anybody would like to send in a Spit the Dog joke that they know, and we'll sort out a winner, and he'll hand you a very nice prize here on Tiswas. All right? Right. Now,
he kind of did the same thing every time with him, but it was such a good act. It was great fun, and apparently it was Spot the Dog, and then they made it a punk, because spitting with punk, you see, and all that, and that just gave it a bit of edginess. And again, coming on Tiswas, it was perfect.
It did, despite his rather staid appearance, you know, with the big thick moustache that he never got rid of and his big thick hair that he never got rid of. There was something a bit new wave and punk about the act, wasn't there? It was a bit edgier, and you were allowed to like it when you were out of your early years, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, he was respectable enough to launch the Redditch District Council Lottery in September 1979. So, you see, a safe pair of hands, but one of those hands has a spitting dog in it. So, you know, I don't think anyone needs us to describe what Tis was and everything. This Tis Was Online does a fine job of that. Or indeed the adult versions, OTT and Saturday Stay Back, which exist.
We've already covered Sally James in one of these, and Fogwell Flax has been mentioned in passing. So I'm assuming we'll get around all the Tis Was alumni before this show drives us to an early grave.
Yeah, but not all of them got to do the Hellman's Mayonnaise adverts.
Oh no, I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, because that was I seem to do that for ages. Sort of Bob dressed as a sort of 1940s schoolboy, putting everything in mayonnaise.
Mother was a dreary cook. Her string beans tasted like real string. One day she left us with nothing but a wedge of rubber, one of her doorsteps, and a forgotten jar of Hellmann's. Quickly I mixed them up and bingo, it was stupendous. I spread Hellmann's on her carpet burgers. Magic. And mixed with tuna, it didn't half cheer up a cloth lettuce. Never again would a homegrown spud taste like it had a woolly on under its jacket. Hellmann's. Don't save it for the salad.
It was a better time. It was a fine time.
It was part of the 4 Booker-Tears, so had a top 30 hit single with the Bucket of Water song. And apparently he also made a single called Do Animals Dream? And there's no audio of it anywhere, so there won't be any in this video unless there is. But the only real reference I could find to it was in Tim Worthington's book, where he described it as a children's choir festooned existential weepy.
Because he's got a song on the 4 Booker-Tears did an album they call Funky Spittin' Punk Dog, which I absolutely love. And Steve Binnett of Off the Chart and Noisebox Radio has often said, I think it's fascinating true, that was the Bucket of Water song was a hit and got onto Top of the Pops at a time where Tiz was still regionally not shown all over the country. So there must have been huge swathes of the UK wondering who the hell these people were singing this ridiculous song. But
amazing.
Do I want to mention Surprise, Surprise? Because it does mean invoking Cilla.
It was a Surprise, Surprise was a spin-off of Game for a Laugh, wasn't it, technically?
Sort of, yeah. It was
taking the sort of the surprise elements.
Yeah, the schmaltzy, you've not seen your brother for 15 years. Well, bad luck, he's dead, but here's someone who knew him. All those kind of, again, very much the kind of precursor to your modern repair shops and all that sort of thing.
But yeah, Bob did sort of become a sort of a comfy shoes broadcaster after that. You know, the punk years of Spit the Dog behind him, he was a very sort of mainstream force.
And he's on a record called All the Children of the World, which I think we need to devote an entire episode to soon.
Yes.
So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, because
I'll pop that up on screen, but with the caveat that we'll be looking at that probably as a special episode.
I think so. I think it needs a deep, deep dive.
Should we go into Bob's candle shop then?
Well, I was kind of enjoying the fact that we'd not mentioned it for so long, because that is, unfortunately, people of our generation, it's like the Bob Carolgees was on telly and then wasn't on telly, and everyone knew it's because he ran Carolgees Candles.
I found some reviews of it online. Myself and my present beau went to a craft centre in a locale promising the largest collection of Yankee candles in the Northwest. Imagine my utter surprise that the outlet was owned by none other than TV's very own Bob Carolgees. I gazed in amazement at the cornucopia of cheaply framed pictures adorning the walls with Bob, Spit the Dog, and showbiz luminaries such as Marty Cairn, Danny LaRue, Mike Yarwood and Bobby Davro. Then, amongst the utter rip-off scented wax jugs, there stood before me Bob Carolgees. He brushed past me, muttering about kids pissing around. Somewhat disappointed, I mentioned it to the sales assistant, who said, he could be a bit miserable, and he doesn't like you talking about the dog either.
That's a shame, because that's pretty much all I want to talk about.
Well, Candles Plus, it still exists in the Lady Hayes Craft Centre near Frodsham, but Bob does not run it anymore. He sold up in 2015.
It's a shit business.
Essentially, Spit's act was taken over by hacker T-Dog, so I asked if he'd ever met Bob and how big an influence Bob was on his career, and he said,
Hello, Pantosplaining. Hacker the Dog here from the telly. Now, I'm a dog, and I'm on telly, but I have never heard of, nor have any interest in Bob Carolgees or Spit the Dog. Thanks for asking. La 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 la. Hey!
So that was a bit of a letdown. Oh, I can tell you one thing. CarolGeesCandles.com, the original website of Carolgees Candles, is now Carol's Scandals, which is a sort of AI news site.
Good Lord.
Amazing. Sorry.
Wow. Everything evolves. My final fact about Bob is that he shares a birthday, the 12th of May 1948, with Steve Winwood. And indeed you can sing Spit the Dog to Valerie. And in fact, it scans better than the original. Huh? Spit the dog, spit the dog. He certainly couldn't do Ted Moult, Ted Moult. Let's be careful.
No.
Ted Moult, he's someone who I have very little memory of, I'll be honest with you, on television. And I never really knew why he was on television when he was.
Well, I've spent a couple of days researching him, and I don't know why he was on television. So,
well, as far as I can tell, it was on the radio.
This is it. He was a farmer. He was a farmer, and in 1955 or something like that, he was on Brain of Britain, but lost. But was apparently so charismatic that he was sort of invited back to do all sorts of other radio broadcasts, and it sort of span out from there.
Yeah, and I only remember him really from the adverts for Everest double glazing. You want the best? Fit Everest, or some variant on that, certainly. And again, I don't really know how he jumped from farming to double glazing, but
on his book Down to Earth: The Life and Views of Ted Moult, he describes himself as a farmer first and a broadcaster, but casually. So, kind of sums it up, I think.
I think that's a very good way of thinking about things as well, you know. And I imagine having double glazing really keeps the sound in. From outside and inside, so...
Good soundproofing. That might be important to you. And you'll definitely want draft proofing to that standard.
So I can't imagine anyone heard his unfortunate suicide by gunshot in 1986 after a period of depression. But, you know, apparently he left his family more than $750,000 and probably got the windows done for free. So, you know... But yes, I think a lot of people will remember Ted Moult, but not necessarily why.
Well, a lot of people remember him from the song Dear Ken Ted Moult from Half Man Half Biscuit's second album Back Again in the DHSS. So, in order to find out about Ted Moult, I looked on the Half Man Half Biscuit forum, where there is a Who is Ted Moult thread. And this is what the HMHB fans describe Ted Moult as, and this we will all learn from. He was a farmer who made it rich by luck. He had a farm in Derbyshire. He was an early-day Adam Watts' face-off countryphile. He became a radio star on the back of being a loser in the final of Brain of Britain. We actually had the twat to open our carnival one year. He went downhill then, of course. Also the butt of a funny joke after his death. What's the...
Good
we continue. Ted, it has to be said, say the forum, was someone drafted in whenever ITV needed a personality farmer to front an item on agriculture in the Midlands News Bulletin. He had a ruddy-faced, amiable countenance and a... He was a lazy, greedy farmer, if Wikipedia's comments on his strawberries are to be believed. He advertised eggs pre-1971. This is interesting. He was the second person to be seen on Channel 4 after Richard Whiteley.
Yes.
Because he was in Dictionary Corner on the first episode of Countdown.
Yes. So we brought that back now to some vague respectability towards it. I'm hoping very much that a lot of that is censored, I'll be honest with you. Especially that joke.
As we speak, I don't know how much of that will have been bleeped out, but it depends on how funny the bleeps are.
It does, and if any of his family are still alive and litigious.
Talking of his family, there's one more thing I found on the Ashbourne Town Council website. Now, I'm going to read this paragraph verbatim, but I swear to God, it reads like something Chris Morris would have written. This is straight out of On the Hour of the Day to Day, right? Ted Moult's Shrovetide Ball comes home. Ashbourne Historical Centre have been pleased to welcome the lovely Anna and William Moult, children of TV and farming personality Ted Moult. Ted turned up the Tuesday ball in 1962 and was not gold, so he was presented with the leather. Anna and William have loaned the ball for all to see and is now on display in the centre in Town Hall.
Wow.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Ted Moult's Shrovetide Ball.
I can picture it now and it's a beauty. And you know what you might have said to people who got to see that bottle?
Yes.
You lucky people.
Oh, very good, very good.
Which is the catchphrase of Tommy Trinder, the final name on this poster. And he is very much one of those names I know. I've kind of said, like, as far as I can tell, like the Arthur Atkinson character in the Fast Show is kind of based on that sort of act.
Exactly. I thought that the name Tommy Trinder, it sounds like a cliche itself. It sounds so much like a musical comic. It's like ground zero for all the old-timey comic names came from, like Arthur Atkinson. And then I watched his act from, I don't know, the 50s or whenever it was on, this clip, and it really was full-on Arthur Atkinson.
From all the reviews I could find, certainly the early days and what have you, back then it was quite sort of surreal and weird and different to kind of what people were putting on stage. And stuff. And so I can see why he took off the way he did.
It was kind of like a prototype Bruce Forsyth. That, they were both came from London. They both came from working class backgrounds. They both made their stage debuts very early. They toured in their teens in review. They won over tough audiences in difficult editions like the War. They made the mark in the 50s, and they looked and acted remarkably similar. And when Tommy was replaced by Bruce as host of Sunday Night London Palladium, because he had offended the managing director of ATV, Val Parnell, apparently, it was replaced by Bruce Forsyth, and then there wasn't really room in showbiz for both of them. There's no need for two Bruce Forsyths.
All right, I did wonder why his sort of career petered out a little bit, because he's absolutely massive in the 40s, and I looked at his IMDb, and he headlined quite a few films, although I would suggest that there wasn't much of a stretch for many of them. For example, in 1940s Laugh It Off, he played Tommy Towers. In Sailors 3, the same year, he played Tommy Taylor. In The Foreman Went to France, 1942, he played Tommy Hoskins. And I don't know if that was successful, because they were back in 1943 to Tommy Turk for The Bells Go Down, TTs. And Tommy Taylor again in Fiddlers 3, which I assume was a sequel. And in 1955, he played Private Tommy Smart in You Lucky People. And in Bitter Springs, he played...
Yes?
Just Tommy. Just Tommy. It helps, I suspect, people are not sure if you're in character or not, so they say Tommy and you answer. It's perfectly fine. It works for everyone.
He, in the 60s, he adapted to the satire boom, apparently, with appearances in 6 episodes of the BBC series Not So Much a Programme, More a Way of Life, which is very 60s satire title, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it the Family Examiner that had a programme called Satire Day Night from the 60s? I can't remember.
Hooray, it's Satire Day is from On the Hour.
Is it?
It's their weekending parody.
Yeah.
He did have a long career. So we're talking about a Panto that was in 1984 here. And as you say, it's kind of like his peak. So doing the Palladium and stuff like that was for the 40s and 50s.
We haven't mentioned how little he was in this, because one of the news clippings you picked out said he was only in like 4 minutes or something. Which is probably because the previous year he'd been hospitalised after collapsing whilst performing in Aladdin in 1983. And then he collapsed on stage again during a show in Rotherham in April 1985. So it was pure luck that he managed to get through this one.
Well, yeah, I think because from what I could tell, that was it. After that, that was kind of his career done with. Although he lived to 1989, which, let's be quite clear, is 3 more than Ted Moult.
There was one little nugget I found, which they said he married Violet Bailey in 1932. According to his biographer, Patrick Newley, Violet grew to dislike Trinder so much that she refused to laugh at his jokes. It sounds very much like my first wife.
I'm going to say it sounds like all my partners, to be honest with you. I don't know if he was awkward or not. You see, I was trying to find out if he was. Because, he continued working, so he can't have annoyed people that much. Maybe the satire boom, re-educated him Lenny Bruce style. It stripped him down to his core essentials. And I'm not talking about Ted Moult's ball again. It's very, very clear.
Ted Moult's Shrove-Tide ball and the core essentials.
And he was King Rat at our favourite institute, the show business Water Rats, 3 times.
3 non-consecutive terms as King Rat, yes.
Yeah, and lifelong supporter of Fulham. So he was director of that and chairman, I think, for about 15, 16 years as well. So, and, of course, the most impressive thing on his CV, that several years after his death, he actually invented the first app for matching music hall comedians.
Good.
And there is just one more name on this poster, isn't there, that you want to just give a little tip of the Tit-Fritter.
Well, this is the thing, it says directed by Tudor Davis, and I've often wondered and never looked into whether Tudor Davis was related to Windsor Davis, what with their similar names and, similar careers, as it were, in theatre.
Similar trousers.
It turns out he's not related to Tudor Davis, but also we found that there's lots of Tudor Davises, and we didn't really get a handle on who this one was.
I mean, if it's the one I'm hoping it is, he directed the Russ Abbott Show and also Bobby Davro's Rock with Laughter. So if you know, or if you are Tudor Davis, please do put your hand up. We'd love to speak to you. We'd love to speak to anyone who's involved with the Panto. I mean, we are mostly interested in the posters. That is our thing.
Oh, yes, that's the clear. We're a Panto poster podcast, not a Panto podcast. But yeah, if you've been in a Panto, even if it's like a local repertory theatre, even if it's just pulling the curtain back or selling the ice creams, we want to hear from you because we're going to expand the Pantosplaining world into sort of a Pantosplaining behind the curtain extra features and things like that. We've got plans. We've got plans, man.
Oh, we do. So stick around because we've got so many more Pantos to splain, and we'd love you to be there with us for them. And if this episode remains online, I'll use this to say goodbye for this episode.
Yes, thank you for listening to both of them. We'll be back next month with something else.
And if I don't see you next month, I'll see you through the double glazed windows.